Murli, the plan for today is that I'm going to discuss the last essay which we had written in the last class, and you will observe certain differences between your essay and this essay. I am going to compare your essays and check your essays of today and tomorrow. Today and the last class, and I'm going to give you clear feedback about them, uh, which will happen tomorrow as such. So let's start. Okay, so the last class was this one. Best lessons are learned through bitter experiences. If you look at this particular topic and you go in for handling it in the right manner, then on breaking it, I'm going to share this document with you. Don't worry. You don't have to write anything, only try to understand things. When we break down this particular topic, then this topic basically has three different parts inside it. It talks about best lessons, it talks about learning, and it talks about bitter experiences. These are the three things which are being discussed out here. So, best lessons basically means what are the most impactful, transformative, and enduring insights or teachings? Those are the best lessons. Learning implies personal growth or collective growth. And when we talk about collective growth, we're actually talking about growth of Indian society, growth of India through reflection and adaptation. So when we reflect, we have to think back in terms of history about whatever has happened here in our country. Now, when we talk about history, we're not talking about only historical events. We're also talking about the economy, geography, everything. And then bitter experiences basically denotes which are whatever is painful, challenging, or adverse events which you do not want to happen, but they still do happen, whether they are at a personal level, societal level, or a national level. So remember, when you talk about bitter experiences, for the sake of writing the essay, you can go in for recollecting a personal bitter experience, but the real focus of the whole essay is societal experiences or national experiences as such. And these bitter experiences have to be so big that they should leave a lasting impression upon us. So the topic basically suggests that adversity is a powerful teacher, often more effective than comfort or success. That is what the focus of the whole topic here is. And this particular topic, it encourages us to alternatively look for best lessons elsewhere also. Say, although most of the essay will be upon adversity is the good teacher. At the same time, we also have to look for other kind of lessons from some other sources, not from adversity. Say, for example, can we preempt problems? Can we avoid problems? Not wait for problems to teach us. Can lessons be learned without bitterness also? What is the role of foresight, planning, and empathy in case of our own country? So, can we plan ahead in such a manner that we do not face problems? So, we can talk about situations where India did not face a problem, but other countries faced a problem. For example, COVID epidemic is one big example where we handled the COVID epidemic much better than other countries. We even went in for designing our own vaccine as such, and we started exporting that vaccine to a lot of countries which did not have the vaccine at all. That part can be talked about here as well. So, if I do a pestle analysis to create some multidimensional insights, then in terms of political part of it, partition of India was a bitter example. It happened in 1947. It taught us lessons on secularism, federalism, and communal harmony. Emergency, which happened in 75 to 77, it reinforced democratic values and civil liberties. Coalition politics, which happened in the 1990s, it created a lot of political disturbances, a lot of instability. So, this instability led to consensus building and federal maturity as a country. Then, if we look at economic disasters which have happened in our country, then in 1991, there was a balance of payments crisis which happened. India did not have money to pay its loans, it did not have foreign currency. And this is something which was possibly responsible for liberalization. Now, Dr. Manmohan Singh was the kind of a prime minister who used to think for a lot of years before taking a big step. So, he had been thinking about economic liberalization much before 1991, and he had been researching upon it to look at what would be the positives and negatives of it. Immediately after the balance of payment crisis happened, then economic liberalization was announced. I do not know to what extent was the balance of payment crisis a reason why economic liberalization was immediately announced. Yes, it led to a lot of privatization, globalization. There was a lot of economic recovery which happened. India started earning a lot of money. We became economically connected with the rest of the world. and we opened up our gates for all the rest of the countries to come to India and sell here. When they started selling their goods here, after some time, they realized that they were paying a lot of money in transporting those goods. So they took permission from India to manufacture their goods in our country. And this led to another trigger to industrialization. And when industries and factories were established by foreign companies, MNCs, then automatically it required infrastructure. And then we developed the infrastructure and the country started progressing. So balance of payment crisis actually ended up teaching us a lot of lessons. If you look at demonetization, which happened in 2016, it
Sir,
clearly exposed that informal sector had a lot of vulnerabilities.
sir, there is
And
a question
yeah, ask me.
in political topics, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, can we mention like emergency and coalition politics, like topics such
Yes,
as emergency, like won't they be like biased, taking the sides of a political party, mentioning?
we're not. Emergency is so big a issue for our country that mentioning emergency is something which is not a politically incorrect thing. When during emergency democratic values were curtailed, then this was a reason because of which democratic values got reinforced after emergency, and civil liberties also got affected as such. So we cannot ignore emergency because the Congress side did it.
And
Coalition politics again is something which does talk about political parties, and it had to do with political parties. But the country's political parties were in such a situation that they had to do coalition politics.
and
But
there
after this
is,
time period, either the Congress I has won or else BJP has won.
sir, can you mention the following court judgments which came during emergency, such as basic
Yes, yes,
structures,
yes, yes, you can
such as
mention them.
such those?
Yes, you can mention them. Which
Yes,
means you
sir.
need to know the dates of them and you need to know the name of the judgment which
Judgments,
came. Yeah.
sir. And when we mention certain acts or judgments, is it necessary to mention the year?
It is not necessary. If you remember the act, it is fine. If you remember the year also, it is even better.
Okay, sir.
The basic thing which you have to do is do not try to go in for mugging up or learning by rote all the years. Instead, connect. Mentally, you need to be clear that emergency happened in 75 to 77. So if there is a particular act which came towards the end of it, it must have happened in 1977. Or if some act happened after 1 year after that, then automatically it was 1978. But emergencies dates are something which you need to know.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
When you are mentioning emergency or when you are mentioning coalition politics, please take care you do not take the name of any political party,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So let's come to demonetization. Demonetization exposed informal sector vulnerabilities, accelerated digital payments. It sparked debates upon cash economy, and it started more of digital payments happening in our country. Our country started getting more digitized after that financially. This is something which triggered all the fintech companies. If you look at GST rollout, this rollout was not thought out properly. Now, Murli,
Sir,
whatever I'm
actually,
sharing with you, this is something which is there for your own understanding, but take care you do not write it in the same manner in which the truth is. GST rollout was something which was done by BJP. GST was something on which Dr. Manmohan Singh and Congress Sahib were already working, but they wanted to do more research to decide how and what would be the rates of GST and what would be the rules and laws. And while they were working upon it, they knew that this is something which is very big. And unless and until the research is completed, we cannot really roll out GST. At the end of Congress rule, somewhere around 2013, 14, 12, these were the years in which BJP started accusing Congress of not taking decisions. It started accusing Dr. Manmohan Singh that Dr. Manmohan Singh is somebody who does not take decisions easily. and he does exactly whatever high command, which meant Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi used to order him. So he was a lot of people, even in the media, the word indecisive started coming. He's a very indecisive person, and he does not take decisions easily. And it was, in case of some editorials also in newspapers, it was getting pointed out that the IAS officers and IPS officers are not taking decisions because they do not know whether their decisions will be acceptable to the government or not, ruling party or not. This was the situation. So when BJP came into power, BJP started saying that decisions are not being taken and we need a decisive leadership. As a result, the moment BJP came into power, it went in for taking a lot of steps which were considered to be strong steps. So these were political steps. These were steps to show to the public of India that, see, the political party before us, it did not take decisions easily. We take strong decisions. The rollout of GST was one of those steps which was taken without thinking it properly. As a result, it caused a lot of problems. When GST was rolled out, there were a lot of systemic gaps inside it, and it led to a lot of problems for small scale industries and small businesses. And there were a lot of discrepancies, things on which the GST rate should have been lower. They had a high rate. A lot of things which required a greater rate, on those things, the GST rate was very low. Even today, because of political compulsions, the GST rate upon gold is only 1%. Although gold is a luxury, remember that. But on education, in certain sectors, there's a clear 18% rate as such. So if a particular student goes in for taking coaching, and if the price of that particular product is above 20,000, then automatically GST has to be paid. And if GST has to be paid, then this is again educational GST, on which GST should not be there. So now there is only GST. GST is not there on books. But students require not only books, they require a lot of other things also. On those things, GST is present. So there are issues, but you will take care you do not talk about GST rollout in such a manner that if somebody is supporting the government, then that person should not feel bad about.
Sir, as the topics mentioned, bitterness,
Yes,
bitter experiences. So
yes.
here, should we mention those negatives of like demonetization or
So,
GST?
so what you're going to talk about is you're going to say that there were systemic gaps which got pointed out. You will
For
not say that
example,
it was not thought out properly. You will not say it led to problems for small scale industries. Instead, as somebody who is a spokesperson for the government, you are going to say that small scale industries and businesses could not adapt to the GST rollout. As a result, they face more problems. More problems. Don't say that they face a lot of problems, that businesses were closed.
it should be spoken in a moderate language.
Yes, 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 yes. I tell you
Okay, sir.
about Uttarakhand, the place where I belong to. About 80% of the small scale industries and businesses closed down when GST was rolled out within 1 year.
Due to revenue losses.
Because of revenue losses. And as a result of that, people in Uttarakhand started migrating out of Uttarakhand. Even now, from Masuri to my village, there are about 9 villages which come on the way. Out of those 9 villages, only one village has 3, 4 people, which means all the villages are empty. There is no economy. Economy in case of Uttarakhand is in a very bad state. So complete villages have become vacated because everyone has moved out of Uttarakhand. Only people from who are from outside of Uttarakhand who own hotels and spas and other holiday resorts, they are the ones who are staying. People who are employed in the hospitality sector in hotels, etc., they are there. But in case of all of that area around Masuri, at least that is the area which I have seen very properly, where about 80% of the businesses have simply moved out. The only people who are doing business apart from hotels is those who are cutting forests and selling wood illegally, because cutting deforestation is not permitted in Uttarakhand, but a lot of deforestation is happening legally, like illegally. I do not know how. So whenever I go back home, on the way, I only see trucks loaded with cut trees, although cutting of trees is not permitted in the jungles. And there are traffic jams. There's so many trees being cut. This is the reason behind the floods which are happening in Himachal Pradesh. This is the reason behind floods which are happening in Uttarakhand also. Flooding is not happening too much in case of Jammu and Kashmir area because there deforestation is not happening. So
So,
all the mountains in case of this particular area, they have become hollow because of two reasons. The surface land is weak because there are no trees. So whenever a little bit of water comes, there's a lot of water erosion which happens of the soil, and that leads to landslides. And there's a lot of infrastructure projects which have happened in case of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh as a result of which, and Himalayas is a new mountain. As a result, the mountains have become weaker, and there are cracks which have started appearing everywhere. In people's houses, cracks have appeared, and people have to be vacated from those areas. But yes, fancy roads have been built, fancy tunnels have been built, and in the latest rains which have happened, most of them have completely been destroyed. In Himachal Pradesh, the situation is even worse than Uttarakhand. In Uttarakhand, less infrastructure projects were there. As a result, less destruction has happened. In Himachal Pradesh, there was more which happened, more economic development happened. So there is more devastation which has happened there. The floods are more fierce there because trees slow down water and slow down the removal of topsoil. And there are no trees there in Himachal Pradesh. Most of the mountains are completely bare. If you go
this give
to
rises.
Mussoorie, the the mountains which used to come on the way to Mussoorie used to be green. Now all the mountains are exactly white because first the deforestation happened, then the topsoil got washed away by the rains. Now and then there were a lot of calcium deposits, marble deposits. So you can see white, absolutely white mountains, which look very beautiful, but hopeless. So you have to be
So,
aware of this. But how you are going to write down about it is something where you have to take a decision.
but these points should be mentioned, right, sir? All this,
Yes, they
whatever
have
is
to mention.
happening.
I've mentioned them in the essay,
Okay, sir.
but I've taken care of the language.
Yes, sir.
Okay. COVID-19 brought in an economic shock. It highlighted the need for social safety nets. And we had very bad supply chains of food and other materials. After COVID-19, the supply chains became better. COVID-19 also showed that people do not have a social safety network. So government went in for introducing smaller bank loans. It started asking people to get integrated with banks and open up their accounts. And government even went in for adding money into their accounts and said, these 15,000 are yours. Now just operate your account. But implementation is where India is lacking. So a lot of poor people, when they had 15,000 in their bank account, when problems came, they withdrew that money a little bit, and the total amount in the bank account became less than 10,000. As a result, banks went in for asking them to pay some penalties. In the process, their bank account became empty because every month a certain amount of money used to get deducted from their accounts by the banks. So this was one step which was missed. All of those, it was possibly called as Jan Dhan Yojana, na?
Pradhan Mantri Jandan.
Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So the only thing missing in that Jan Dhan Yojana was that these should have been zero balance accounts because it is only poor people who cannot maintain enough money in their bank account, and these were accounts for poor people. So all of that money actually went into the pockets of the banks. It didn't. All of that money could not go to the poor people for whom it was intended.
It comes under the topic of financial literacy, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah,
this
yes.
financial literacy.
There was financial literacy issue and financial integration of these people, poor people. Then we can come to social adversities. For example, caste discrimination is one big problem which our country has. It has led to a lot of social justice movements. There are a lot of constitutional safeguards now. And even mentioning a person's caste whose caste is lower now is a crime in our country. Then there is, but this caste problem has not been solved still. Then there is gender-based violence issues which happened. For example, the Nirbhaya case happened. As a result of Nirbhaya case, this strengthened laws and public awareness. Then there was a migrant crisis which happened during COVID-19. This very clearly exposed the urban-rural divide. It showed the policy gaps which were there. It showed the economic development of certain states was on the lower side. So the people had to migrate out. When we look at technological adversities, you can talk about the Bhopal gas tragedy. Because of the Bhopal gas tragedy, the country pushed for industrial safety and environmental regulation. You can talk about cyber frauds, which is another adversity. This has led to more digital literacy campaigns by the government, data protection laws. It has also exposed a digital divide in our country, and there is a push for digital literacy and data protection laws because of cyber frauds. COVID-19 also revealed gaps in access to education and healthcare. Then you can also talk about rise of e-commerce.
Sir,
COVID-19, if it went in for doing digitalization, the rise of e-commerce uh, and the rise of gig economy, it has created problems of small shopkeepers. And gig economy has had an effect upon the employment situation of the country also. So a lot of people who should have received a better job, they get underemployed in the gig economy. Yeah, ask me. There's a question which you had.
yes, sir. As a positive of COVID-19 with respect to education or healthcare or in
Yes, yes.
general,
So COVID-19 actually went in for showing gaps in access to education and healthcare, which got plugged to a great extent.
no, sir, as an outcome, online education was a beneficial tool, sir. Wide scale
So online
implementation.
education got a push, but this also pointed out that there are a lot of people who cannot access online education because they do not have the tools required. They don't have a cell phone or a computer back at home.
But still, there are efforts being made to cover those gaps,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
sir?
yes. Efforts are being made. There are a lot of schemes which the government has launched. There are a lot of schemes which various states have launched to address this particular gap. As we call it as a digital divide, a financial digital divide.
Yes, sir.
Then, if I look at environmental disasters, then Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand flood, which is ongoing at the moment, is a good example. Uttarakhand floods, which were very severe in 2013, Chennai floods, which happened in 2015, these all gave us lessons in urban planning. The Chennai flood was really a lesson in urban planning, and we need to be ecologically sensitive. So Indian government went in for strengthening the ecological laws as such.
So,
Yeah.
here, with respect to floods, can we take the larger picture uh, as of whole of South Asia, the Himalayan chain
So,
region
so
is
there are two
being
parts to it.
affected?
Yeah, there are two parts to it. There is climate change which is happening, no doubt about that. And when climate change is happening, it would mean that the overall temperature of Earth is increasing. So more evaporation will happen. If more evaporation will happen, the monsoon and the clouds will have greater amount of water. When that greater amount of water is thrown back to Earth, automatically it will lead to more floods. So we have to be ready for that. Look at the situation in Gurgaon. There are places in Gurgaon where a single flat, its worth is about 20 crores or 100 crores. But those people who are living in those 20 crore or 100 crore flats, they cannot come to the ground floor because the ground floor has 5 meters of water collected there. Everyone's cars have been completely submerged, and there is no way for that water to go out. Even the government does not know what to do with that water. Before monsoons, cleaning of storm drains has to be done. But cleaning of storm drains is not done properly. Even the incident which happened at Rouse was a result of the storm drain not being cleaned.
Can I interrupt here, sir? Actually,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
background is civil engineering, sir.
yeah, yeah.
So, since I'm from that background, I can add that The major problem is starts from the surveying itself. So when we allot particular infrastructure for particular land type, we should be taking
Yes.
into consideration at the initial stage itself. We cannot avoid
So,
then.
so we have to preempt the fact that because of climate change, more rains are going to follow, as a result of which the drainage should be better. And we need to be ready for the
One,
future.
yes, sir. That and the one more point is the elevation of the land, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
That matters. The people go into constructing into in the floodplains, actually
yeah.
historical floodplains. Those are regions where people predicted this water level when it rises, it may be a century flood or a half a century flood. Water level reaches these floodplains. So they have made these maps actually, but now they were avoiding all those things and going for construction in those plain areas. So that is the main root cause. So since already development has happened, now we have to look at mitigating. We cannot like completely demolition. We cannot. That's not possible because there will be
Mhm.
loss of property, life investment, etc. So adaptation is the best path now forward.
See, 2, 3 years back, there was a particular flood which happened in the city of Jammu. And the reason for that big flood was that all the natural drains in the valley and all the natural lakes in the valley, they had been destroyed and construction had happened over them. So when more rain happened, there was no outlet for that rain.
When we take river systems, they're
Yes.
actually they'll be changing the alignments.
Mhm.
Since Himalayas are new mountains, the pathway of the rivers will be changing. So
Yes.
predictability is less. The percentage of predictability is less. Accuracy is less in those highly sensitive and shifting stages. So
Yes.
best lessons is following the traditional people who have been there for centuries. They'll know that knowledge, actually how to adapt and what kind of infrastructure is needed for that place. So listening to indigenous people is important in those places before going in for any infrastructure projects.
I agree. Rajasthan is one state where having a drought and absence of water is a perpetual problem. They have a particular weed there, a natural plant which grows there called as khejdi. Khejdi is used for as a vegetable. It is used for as a fuel. It is used for 20 other purposes. So local people worship that particular plant because they get their food and security from that particular plant. Lately, when some construction infrastructure project was happening, that particular project required cutting off jungles of khejdi. And people of Rajasthan, they were completely against it. They did not permit that infrastructure project. They said you will not destroy this particular jungle because this is something which gives us a lot of security. So I think that is actually going on at the moment, that particular agitation.
Yes, but still we have to balance both development as well as the
Yeah,
traditional
yeah,
living
yes, yes,
that is
yes.
required.
As an administrator, you have to worry about both things. You have to know how to balance both the things. The traditional knowledge which has made this country what it is today, and it has helped in the growth of this country. At the same time, infrastructure requirements are there, and they have to be met. So there has
I
to be a
feel
compromise somewhere. There has to be a trade-off somewhere.
some innovative new technology can be adopted, such as
Yes,
tunnels
yes.
or
Or usage of new technology or innovative things so that we do not disturb whatever works in our country, and we still end up doing new things. For example, infrastructure development.
yes, sir.
Chalo. Then let's come to legal issues. Shabano case was a very famous case which sparked debate upon personal laws, Muslim personal laws versus Uniform Civil Code. And in this particular case, the government actually went in for taking steps which were not acceptable to the general public as such. So you need to have very clear idea about the Shabano case. This is important for you. Nirbhaya case, it pointed out, and it led to development of fast track courts and stricter laws. But lately, another incident has happened in Gurgaon, in Haryana, which was worse than the Nirbhaya case. But it did not get reported in the newspapers at all. No newspaper, no television channel went in for reporting that particular case, which happened in Haryana. This was about last month,
Yes,
and
sir. I
there was a huge rebellion which happened there, and people really got angry at whatever was going on, the law and order situation there. But the government simply suppressed all news about it completely, absolutely. My barber, he comes from Haryana. He was the one who actually told me. He said, "I have seen crowds which had about 10,000 people." So there was a lot of rebellion which happened there. But I did not come across that news either in the Hindu or in Times of India or on television or anywhere. I only saw some reels made by people in Haryana on Instagram. Except for that, there was no report at all. But it was a worse case than Nirbhaya.
Sir, I read that about online on Hindustan Times. It's mentioned on Hindustan.
It must have come in Mint. Mint is more independent as such. You must have
But
read
sir,
it in Mint.
in that particular case, it was mentioned like due to animals was were involved in gnawing. That
No,
was a
no, no, no.
particular term used. So
No.
what the
What had happened in that particular case was that whosoever a gang rape had happened, and whosoever were the rapists, they had actually used a knife to cut away all sexual organs of that particular girl, and they had taken the sexual organs with them.
but this was not reported in any
It was not reported. It was
newspapers.
not reported. It was not reported. Then there is judicial activism, which you can go in for talking about. It has emerged because of executive lapses. It has, but this is a very sensitive topic. As somebody who wants to become part of the executive, you cannot talk about executive lapses. So take care of this point, or it has to be handled very properly.
So can you
Then, if I
give
look
a
at
example for the judicial activity,
okay,
executive lapses?
wherever the courts have gone in for taking a decision because the parliament was not because the parliament was not doing anything, and because the bureaucracy was not doing anything.
Like the existing governor versus the state of Tamil Nadu case.
Yeah, yeah, yes. You can
So
take that
it is not,
example.
we should not be taking such examples.
Yeah, you should not be taking. Preferably not taking.
Anything
Then
shows the executive in the bad light should not be taken, sir.
should not be taken. Yes. The people who are going to check your essays, even though they will not be IAS officers, they will be professors of various colleges, but these professors have been trained by IAS officers. So the rules for checking of your essay and your papers are prepared by people who are IAS officers. They will not write any rule which goes against them.
Yes, sir.
Then you can come to corruption scandals which have happened, the 2G scam, the CWG scam. All of these scams have strengthened transparency mechanisms. The farmer protests, which have happened in 2021, they highlighted that there should be more ethical governance, and the stakeholders have to be included in the decision making. So the farmer laws which were passed, the farmer bills which were passed, if you look at them, they were passed for the benefit of the farmers. But because farmers were not included in the decision making, and suddenly they were those laws were passed, the farmers simply rebelled across the whole country. No law is bad, no law is good. You will not write this, but you have to understand this. How that law is implemented decides whether that law works or not. So, whatever policies are created, you can create a great policy and not implement it, or you can have a hopeless policy, but the implementation of that policy may be such that it works wonders. So, whatever is written on paper, it is not very important. At the ground level, whatever the government permits goes in for happening, whatever political parties permit. And when you talk about political parties, you're basically talking about the MLA of that particular area.
So
The
won't that
MLA is the lowest rung of the whole political ladder.
so won't that be the will of the people since he is the representative?
Yes, yes. The will of the people. Uh, so laws get moderated by whatever will work for that MLA. So technically, if you look at it, being in a democracy, the MLA should do exactly those things which are right, which people of his area will benefit from. But the MLA will also do things based upon who bribes him better.
Yes, but that can't be mentioned, right, sir?
Cannot be mentioned. That cannot be mentioned. Then British colonial exploitation. It shaped India's ethos of justice, equity, and self-reliance. And there were a lot of positives, other positives also, which I've covered in case of the essay as such. The time now is 9:50. I'm going to this particular stage share this essay with you. Just give me a moment. I have shared the essay and this whole document. I want you to take a clear 10 to 15 minutes to go through it. It is still getting uploaded. Yeah, now it should be visible. In fact, just download it, read through it very carefully. You have a whole 10 minutes.
So
Yeah, ready? Yeah, Murli. Yes, Murli, tell me.
so I have few questions from the essay, sir.
Okay.
So can we use the title like or the thesis topic like it was used in the first paragraph, the sentence best lessons are learned through bitter experiences.
Right.
This was
Uh,
used in the first
uh,
paragraph itself.
can we go in for writing down the topic completely exactly the way it is written?
Yes, sir, in the first
Yes,
paragraph
yes,
itself.
yes, we can.
Okay, sir. And one more, sir. Like in the last paragraph, there was the language other than English used. Can we use that as
We can do
we
that.
write answers?
Permitted, permitted.
Is it permitted? Any other Indian
Yes,
language, sir?
yes, yes.
And but we have to
Give the meaning.
translate it, give the meaning. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And answer. Every paragraph was preceded by titles like pestle,
No.
environmental,
So
societal.
understand one more thing, that if you look at the last three paragraphs, these
Yes,
last
sir.
three paragraphs, they have got, they are actually concluding paragraphs.
No, so before this, initially, when you're doing the pestle analysis type, it
Yeah,
was
you can
like
you can go in for giving headings, and you have to underline them also.
that is possible, sir.
That is permitted.
Yes, sir. And so in the last statement, you're agreeing with the thesis statement that bitter experiences are required, not
Yes.
no, not bitter. Like comfortable experiences are not the root for root cause to be so that we can learn better lessons through only or through bitter experiences.
Yes.
Uh, so so we are disagreeing with the point that better experiences cannot be learned through good or sweet experiences. Can we say that ways?
See, I do not know whether I went in for covering that particular aspect or not, about preempting and the alternate view, that it is really not required that we have bitter experiences.
Yes, but in
I
the last
discussed that with
statement,
you, but I do not remember whether I have covered that. I don't know. I have not covered that part. So that could have
no,
been one
sir.
more paragraph, an alternate view, wherein we talk about we need to be more vigilant so that bitter experiences do not happen, and we need to rule out bitter experiences by preempting them, by better planning.
Yes, sir. So it will be a balance between both, right, sir? Better
Yeah, yeah,
experience
yes,
as well as
yes,
good
yes.
experiences. So
Yeah,
instead of only agreeing with the thesis statement that we must need better experiences to have good lessons, that will be a better conclusion, I felt, sir.
you will not say that one is better or this one is
No, no,
better.
no.
What you will
Yes, sir.
say is we also need to look at an alternative view of the same situation.
Any experiences, be it bitter or good, both are required. So both, like, can we say like someone wins and someone loses. So it is both are an experience. For winner, it is a good experience. For person who have lost, it is a bitter experience. But both are learning from that.
I agree. I agree. I perfectly agree. But we'll have to
So
be
can we
careful about one more aspect. We'll have to be careful about the aspect that if you look at this topic is already loaded. It already has a viewpoint inside it. It is saying that the best learning which will happen from the worst of problems,
yes, sir.
right? So, although your focus of the whole essay should be on the same lines, at the same time, you can also mention one paragraph in which you say that although adversity does teach us the best lessons, at the same time, there can be an alternate view where we can possibly plan better and be more proactive so that a lot of problems can be avoided. And we have been doing those things.
So ultimately, we should be agreeing with the thesis statements. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We should be agreeing with the thesis statement.
So like can there be any negative statements in the exam? So we
Can
should be
there be
disagreeing
can
with.
there be a statement that nobody should actually agree with?
Yes, sir. In the
No,
exam.
that will not be there. That will not be there.
So it
I
will
have
be a
looked at
positive.
essay topics from of not 30, 40 years, and I have started understanding what they really require and how they design it. So you can talk about an alternate view, which
So
where you are not saying that I believe in this thing, where you
no,
do
no,
not
no.
give this impression, but you can talk about an alternate view. That would show that you look at all sides of the coin also, which is what I was pointing out to Prerna also, that what is missing in your essay is the deep insights are missing. So when you go in for talking about an alternate view, then automatically you show that you have deep insights about the whole situation.
Yes, sir.
So it is
So
not
we have
only pestle analysis which you are doing, but you're also in the pestle analysis add one more part to it, and that is alternate view.
yes, sir.
But do
So we
not
have
make the mistake of agreeing with that alternate view.
yes, sir. So in the concluding paragraph, we must agree with the thesis statement. We
Thesis
have to
statement, yes,
produce.
yes, yes. The
Mm,
thesis statement is always designed in such a manner that it is a positive statement.
Okay, sir.
It goes according to the system. And you have to take the perspective of India as a society and India as a country to explain that essay of yours.
Yes, sir. And one more, this might be a little bit vague, sir, this question, but um, it is like, what about the people who are left out? How can we cover them? Example,
People
when
who are
we
left
take,
out because of the disasters,
yes, any aspect, like it might be economic, like economic or environmental causes,
yes,
or any political revolution, etc., etc. There will be people who are left out from the better
yes,
experiences. Some come out winning. How can
yes.
we cover that
So
or speak
remember
for
that the
those people?
focus of the essay is India as a country.
Yes,
Whenever
sir.
any step is taken, there will be people who will suffer because of that step, and there will be people who are going to benefit out of the whole thing as such. Basic difference between India as a country and China as a country is that China progresses because they do not worry about a common single Chinese citizen. They worry about what will help the country to develop. And in the process, even if some people get affected negatively, even if the regime or the country or the government have to go in for becoming stricter with certain number of people, the country will not stop at that. Country will do it.
There is no individuality over there,
There is
sir.
no individual focus.
Individuality.
The individual is not important. What is important is the country. As a result of which, China has progressed economically better than India. China converted a lot of its own desert into Greenland. They first of all went in for put a lot of dead grass in the desert to stop erosion of the soil. Then they went in for planting weeds. And for several years, they kept on putting water into those weeds. He kept on giving water to those weeds. After that particular area became green, then people were selected from different parts without asking them. And then they were ordered to migrate to that area. And they were told that these are the vegetables and these are the fruits and these are the crops that you have to grow here. We will help you. But you have to leave your home and everything and go there. So what has happened as a result? That area's economic development has happened. Those people who've been forcibly migrated, although they did not like it, but in the end, they have prospered because of that. In India, we cannot do this.
But we cannot say our system is flawed or their system is better. So, but
No, no, no. We cannot. We cannot. We cannot. We
we
cannot.
cannot. Our system is
We
for
give a lot
ours.
of value to each citizen.
Yes, sir.
Every citizen in our country has a role to play in selecting who's going to rule us. That
And
freedom is not there in China.
we are strengthening the institutions. They are strengthening a individual, but as a person, a lifetime ruler.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Here we are building the
Here,
systems.
here in India, politicians have political compulsions. Before they take a step which will help the country, they have to worry about what will help us getting elected in next year also. So a lot of good things which politicians can do, they do not do that because some people will not like it, and those people are important. As a result of which, the chances of getting elected next time will become less. So the politicians will not take that step, although that is good for the country. I'll give you a very simple example. E-cigarettes are less harmful than normal cigarettes. And almost all the countries in the West, they have permitted e-cigarettes. They're encouraging people to switch from normal cigarettes to e-cigarettes and then leave the e-cigarette because leaving e-cigarette smoking is something which can be done easily. You cannot easily leave normal cigarette smoking. But Indian government has banned e-cigarettes in the country. Now, what can be the reason behind this ban? The only reason behind this ban could be some political lobby or some influencers because of whom Indian government has passed this particular law. Otherwise, there was no need for Indian government to pass this law. There were no people saying that e-cigarettes should be banned. But Indian government took a very strong stand. It's just said it is banned. Nobody can sell them, nobody can buy them, nobody can use them. Look at Bihar. Bihar is a prohibition state. There, liquor is not permitted. Even the government does not make any liquor. But What is the present situation? The present situation is the biggest influence on the economy of that particular state is because of liquor. Because now liquor is sold in black and liquor is delivered to your own home now. The same thing which is happening in Gujarat. Gujarat is also a prohibition state. So people in Gujarat, when I meet them, they're very happy with prohibition. The rich people are very happy. Why? Because previously they had to go to a shop to buy liquor. Now they get perfect liquor at their own homes. And it is barely 10% extra price that they have to pay. So everyone is ready to pay 10% extra price. The same thing is happening in Bihar also. In Bihar, the easiest thing in the world is to order for liquor. The only thing is you should not travel with it because then you can get stopped by the police, and if there's liquor with you, then it will be a problem. It is delivered to people's homes. There's a gig economy like an Ola, Uber, or a Swiggy there, and it is very effective. It is very effective. Previously, there was no quality control. Now in Bihar, there is quality control upon liquor. Why? Because the mafia controls it. Big politicians control it. So prohibition will not get stopped in Bihar. Once any particular state gets addicted to prohibition, then there's a parallel economy which operates because of that illegal liquor, and that parallel economy cannot be touched because there are powerful people backing it and profiting from it. So that is what happens. That's the truth of our country.
Um, so it was in the even in US the prohibition era. It was
Yes.
so they again reversed the policy rights after that and made
Reason behind
legalized
that
it.
was the mafia had become very strong because of that. The people who do illegal activities had become so strong, they had become a problem for the society. So the government went in for strictly answering it off.
So it will be similar to running a parallel system.
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
If you go to any court in our country and you sit down with an advocate who's at least 10, 20 years senior, and you ask him what is the rate for a particular judge, he will tell you the rate of that judge. That if you pay this amount of money, then this judge will say, do exactly what you ask the judge to do. Although I used to think that the judiciary has not been affected by corruption, but now every step, every place has gotten affected.
but still we have some
We have,
some people who
yeah, we
take the
do have
right
some.
path.
This is the reason why the country is running. That's the reason why the country is progressing.
In
I was
every
coming back
wing,
from I was coming back from Jaipur on the way, and it was 31st of December, and it was very cold, and there was a particular drive which was happening, and drink and drive, anti drink and drive activity which was happening by the police. So I was stopped at Delhi border, and this guy came with a breath analyzer. I told him I don't drink. I have never drunk anything. I've tasted it in the beginning, but I do not drink. So he said, okay. So he said, we will still have to take a test. So he took a test. The liquor level was zero. So I use the words, I'm not a drunkard. The moment I said I'm not a drunkard, the policeman, he did not like that word. He said very clearly, he said, please do not use that word. I am a drunkard myself, and drunkards are Lakshmi for us. Most of the money that we earn, it comes from drunkards. These days, this is a drive happening for 3 months. We are going to earn a lot of money. So please do not say the word drunkard. Drunkard is a bad word. Chalo, we'll stop here, but there's one more activity which has to be done. I want you to note it down. Only this is homework for you. This is second topic on which you have to write an essay and you have to submit it by tomorrow. Small difference this time is I want you to take the complete time, which means 10 minutes for the brainstorming part, 70 minutes to write your essay, and 10 minutes to proofread your essay. Truth needs no color. Again, UPSC 2025 topic.
same templates like
Same
India
method, same
context.
method. Yes. The only difference is now you've got more time here. So I'm expecting a longer essay. One more new thing which has happened with the UPSC paper nowadays is that I, as a teacher, used to tell students that Indian government is waking up and it is using more and more of American English. But there was no proof which I had. I only had verbal discussions with people at UPSC from which I got an idea that yes, Indian government is using a lot of American English. This year's paper actually has words whose spelling is American. So this is the first hint that there is nothing wrong in using American spellings. So this is the essay which you're going to write. Possibly write it with a fresh mind tomorrow and submit it tomorrow itself, right? And after you have
Yes, sir.
submitted this essay, I'll take one more day and then I'm going to give you feedback on both the essays separately. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Chalo. That's all for
Sir,
today. Ask me, ask
sir,
me.
one clarification with respect
Mhm.
to e-cigarettes or vaping. It's also called as vaping, right, sir?
Yes.
So it is something similar to like no, no, I'm speaking with respect to concepts. So if you take lobbying, lobbying is illegal, not legal here, but it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
legal in US. So something if we cannot beat it with the system, we have to join it with the system, something like that. Is it the concept like that? Lobbying.
See, lobbying
So,
happens in India also.
but it
The
is not
only thing
legal.
is, India does not have companies which do lobbying, which means they have private companies where you go and give money and they will do lobbying for you. You don't have to go to a politician. So you are safe.
But there are rules and laws governing those firms, lobbying firms.
No, no, there are no rules and laws governing that. Because
No, sir.
the lobbying organizations are sources of funds for the politicians. So American
Um,
politicians do not pass a single law against those lobbyists. And
yes, sir.
lobbying organizations are like pure businesses.
Yes, sir. They are a
India
bridge
actually
between a
spends a
whole.
lot of money on lobbying. Pakistan spends more money than us on lobbying. So in a way, we are spending less money on lobbying in the US.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Chalo. Okay, that's all for today. Bye. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Welcome.